Patterson, how can our listeners get in touch with us tonight and get in on this hot topic of overrated fighters?
Hit us up on the hotline, 219-743-9743. Send us an email, bolopunchboxinghour@yahoo.com, or hit us up on the instant messenger, keyword Bolo Punch Boxing Hour, all one word.
And definitely make sure that you hit that boxing news section on our website at bolopunchboxinghour.com, because you'll be able to see all the footage from the press conference yesterday. David Diaz taking on Manny Pacquiao on June the 28th in Las Vegas, Nevada. I was at the press conference. I got all the footage. It's all there. I transcribed it. Lots of photos. Check out some of our friends' websites as well. Cyberboxing Zone's got a really good site, and our good buddy Juan Ione was there, and he was taking a lot of good shots. So,
yeah, he got a lot of really cool photos of Pacquiao.
It was a really small setting. It was a small setting, so it was really easy to get good shots if you're a photographer, which I'm not. So I relied mostly on the video, and the video wasn't even all that great. So.
And Juan's actually getting a lot better at his photography as well. So I mean, even the fight photos are even getting better on his page.
Also, I saw Jacob Chavez from Fight News. I saw Joe Harrison from Boxing Scene. Definitely piles and piles of top-notch boxing writers were there. Also, Mike Hersley, formerly of the biggest Chicago paper there is, the Chicago Tribune, still writing up a storm. Great guy to talk to. Before we get off on a tangent there, tonight's topic is overrated fighters. Next week we're going to talk about underrated fighters, fighters that might not have gotten their due despite how great they were. Tonight's topic, overrated fighters. Who are some fighters that just got way more attention than they deserved, or they were winning, and the second they got a real good fighter in front of them, they fell apart? I want to hear from you. Call us on our hotline, 219-743-9743, or hook up on the instant message right now. Right off the bat, we have to talk about Arturo Thunder Gotti, because there are people that say he belongs in the Hall of Fame. There are people that say he does not belong in the Hall of Fame. But what we're talking about tonight, was he overrated or was he not? Nestor, you seem to have some really distinct, heartfelt feelings on this.
You know,
overrated or not?
I don't think he was. I honestly believe that he got the attention that he deserved. I mean, he had 3 incredible fights with Mickey Ward, and they made each other basically. But you had a fighter that just wouldn't give up. I mean, this is one guy that actually just left it all on the mat. I mean, he really did. He just every ounce of energy he had, he left in the ring after every fight. You never saw Arturo go out there and kind of half-ass anything. He actually fought all the way through.
Well, and he was never known as a slick boxer either.
No, he wasn't. He was a brawler.
He was known as a brawler, and he was known for the wars that he fought. Not necessarily if he'd win or lose the fight either, just for how he fought.
Yeah, and people loved him for it. His fan base is huge. I mean, and I can understand to a point where people go, well, he never really won anything. Well, that's not true either. I believe that he won the fights he had to win, and there toward the end he was getting beat. But we're talking about a guy that had been through wars. I mean,
I got to jump in here. I really love Arturo Gotti, and I got to jump in when someone calls him just a brawler. Not that those were your guys' exact words, but he did do quite a bit of boxing in his matches. Yes, that was the most exciting parts to his matches. But when he fought Tracy Patterson for the title, he was a boxer. There was very little brawling going on there.
His chin
and that was
what
two fights.
Not even his brawling as much as his chin is what he was known for.
His ability to take punishment and give punishment. I loved watching Arturo Gotti. Does that make him overrated? Well, this particular writer says because he fought Oscar De La Hoya and lost, and because he fought Floyd Mayweather and lost, and because he fought, who's the Argentinian guy?
Baldomir.
Carlos Baldomir, and lost.
Everybody's lost to Floyd. How do you say that? I mean,
he lost to Alfonso Gomez too. I mean, it's the end of his career. You can't look at all the fights at the end of his career.
Well, sure. I mean, we could.
Someone that doesn't like David Diaz can say, "Well, Eric Morales was garbage. He lost to David Diaz."
Yeah.
Okay.
Eric Morales is going to lose to garbage no matter who it is.
Oh, isn't going to lose to garbage.
Yeah, he's not gonna.
Did you hear him?
Yeah, I
Ron?
heard it too. I was like,
He's
what
going to
was
lose to
that?
garbage whoever he is. All right. Well,
No,
I
he-
definitely did not say that.
He's not going to lose to garbage, no
Oh.
matter
Well,
who you put in there.
You know, I mean, you can't talk about a guy the end of a guy's career.
True.
I mean, because a lot of these fighters. I mean, you know, Roy Jones Jr. was a great fighter. Now, the end of his career here lately, he hasn't shown us a whole lot, but he's getting older. You know, and you could look at any of the older guys as they get on in their years at the end of their careers and go, well, gee, he wasn't crap. I mean, look who he lost to. He lost to, you know, so and so. But
Yeah.
you know, the guy's 50 years old, or he's
Close.
44 years old, or
Close,
whatever.
yeah.
You know, I mean, the punishment that Gotti took throughout his career was just ungodly. I mean, he had some incredible wars. Yeah, he lost to Baldomir and he lost to Oscar De La Hoya, but a lot of people have lost to Oscar De La Hoya, and everybody that's fought Floyd has lost to Floyd.
They're saying that the reason his wars were so great was because he was fighting journeymen. Now, Mickey Ward, never a champion, never really had a great series of fights with anyone else. He did have a couple of other really good fights, but no wars, no crazy.
Emmanuel
crazy-
Augustus.
Oh man, Emmanuel Burton, Emmanuel Augustus, whatever you want to call him. That fight was awesome.
Emmanuel Augustus, Burton, whatever. He had a bunch of good fights with all these guys,
Yeah, true.
and he was what you're calling a journeyman. He was always training, but he was never training for a particular fight.
What's
It
that?
was-
A jack of all trades, master
Yeah.
of none, basically.
Yeah, well, he would get thrown in there with whoever on last minute notice and take the fight all the time. He wouldn't be set up for a fight a long time in advance so he could study tape on somebody or
Right.
whatever. You know, it was never like that. for him.
I can't call Gotti overrated. I really can't. I think Gotti got the attention that he deserved, and that's my feeling on it. I really can't. I mean, there's other names on this list that I agree with, but that's not one of them.
My nickname for Arturo Gotti is not Thunder. My nickname for Gotti is Butts in Seats.
Yep.
But there are people that think that Gotti was a great fighter. That he was top of the line fighter.
I can't call him a great fighter.
No. You know what? He was an extremely good fighter. He had a great chin. He had just incredible heart and intestinal fortitude. I mean, the guy would stand up to you no matter what. And he
Mankind over there.
Intestinal fortitude, they used to say that on pro wrestling all the time. That's the only reason that I giggled.
But yeah, you know, you had a guy that just never gave up. You know, you really literally, and we're talking about a guy that, you know, we always make jokes about, you know, he'd start swelling during the national anthem.
Yeah.
But the man took a beating. He
Very
really
much so.
did.
He swelled, and when he fought Mayweather, his eye was swelled up. I think 20 seconds into that fight, it was basically in the national anthem, like you just said.
Yeah.
He
yeah.
was swelling.
He was swelling when he was
very
walking up
quickly.
the stairs before they introduced him.
Gotti's,
Oh my God,
Gotti's
Gotti's
eyes
eyes
red glare.
Yeah. So, you know, and we make jokes about it and stuff, but the man really left everything in the ring.
I think
Every
to the
time he fought.
casual fan, he was overrated. To the knowledgeable boxing fan, he wasn't overrated.
I think it depends on who's asking.
Right.
I think you're right.
Yeah, and I have to agree with that.
Is he going to go in the Hall of Fame?
I think just based on his fights with Ivan Robinson and Mickey Ward are gonna put him in the Hall of Fame.
I think they could.
I
think they could.
think he deserves to be there.
I think Mr. Butts in Seats could make it in the Hall of Fame, but that's not really our topic tonight.
Plus, it's his home state. So.
Sure. Next on the list, he's from Jersey.
Jersey, New York.
Oh, I thought it was
Jersey.
that's close enough. Jersey's like
Like a
Well,
suburb.
he's not from Jersey, but he hangs out in Jersey.
It's a suburb.
it's like a mole on the end of New York.
Anyway, all right. Well, there go all our listeners out there too.
We've just lost.
You just wiped out New York
and New Jersey.
and Jersey.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice job.
Idaho, we're coming for you.
Yeah. All in one fell swoop.
I hate taters. Oh man, Nassim Hamed, Prince Nassim. We got to go here next. Nestor, I went with you first. I'm going to go to Emil first on this one. Soda Popinski Kagabine, what are your thoughts on Prince Nassim?
He's kind of a flashy fighter. Never turned out to be what we thought he was going to be. More known for
Correction, he turned out to be exactly what I thought he'd be.
he did the one thing that he did bring to the sports is the fancy walk downs to the ring. That's the biggest thing that he brought to the sport, I would have to say.
Wasn't he in Purple Rain?
He brought a lot more than just the ring walk, dude. I mean, he did a backflip over the ring, over the top rope,
Over the whole ring.
pretty much.
Mary
He
Lou
did it
Retton?
right over the top rope, and I mean, and that means you're a good boxer.
He brought some flash to the sport, and a lot of people thought he was going to be good because he could do that. And
Yeah.
proved that his chin was a little soft.
Prince Glassjaw Nassim.
Was he overrated? I think he's the king of the overrated fighters. I think if I were to make a list of overrated fighters, I think number 1 would be Prince Nassim, and number 2 and 3 would be Prince Nassim.
Yeah, I was gonna say he'd have to be like 1 through 5.
Because everyone stopped and watched when he fought. Yet the second he fought Pereira, a real fighter, he got a D for done.
Yeah,
As in, I'm done now. I don't want guys really hitting me.
yeah.
I'm too pretty. You know,
There's
stuff
actually
like
a real nice photo in Ring Magazine as well this month of that fight of
Pereira and
Pereira nailing Hassim and their faces, the two looks on their faces. Hassim's face Nassim. I'm thinking.
Ahmed.
But the look on his face just getting blasted, and then Pereira with the look of determination of just nailing him. I mean, it
To
was
knock your nose to the other side of your
yeah.
head.
I just got your joke about Purple Rain, by the way, because his nickname is Prince. I was like, why the hell did he say that? I'll giggle just to make it sound good, and then I'll bring it up 10 minutes later. William Joppy, overrated or not? I couldn't tell you because I never cared when William Joppy fought.
Yeah,
He was in that. He was in that middleweight elimination tournament with Hopkins and Trinidad that led up to Hopkins beating Trinidad. It was actually Hopkins had to fight Keith Holmes, and Trinidad had to fight William Joppy, and he messed up Joppy. And what did Joppy do to get there? Nothing.
Joppy
He
never
signed his name to
became.
the contract. Give him
Yeah.
a break.
He never became an elite fighter, but he is a name that a lot of people know.
And a former champion. And he broke a podium. Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
He was at a press conference. He wanted to show how cool he was, so he punched the top of the podium and broke it. In an unrelated story, 10 minutes before the press conference, William Joppy could be found taking all the screws out of a podium. Next on the list, they call out Baby Joe Macy as an overrated fighter.
It's hard to say that because he never made it to the top. He never. I mean, he
And we never really got to see him.
fight anybody really with
Yeah.
any kind of substance. I mean, he's still kind of hanging around trying to get a fight, but I mean,
Bleeding on the brain will put a damper on people wanting to fight you.
at least
Strange how that works, isn't it?
Well, they don't want to be ruled as a murderer
Yeah.
if something snaps shut or open or whatever would happen in there.
it's like saying Tony Thompson's an overrated fighter.
Well, well, we don't know yet if Baby Joe
Exactly.
Macy's overrated. I think it's unfair to even say that he is.
That's exactly what my point is with Tony Thompson. We don't know yet until he's actually got a big fight.
True. Vinny Pazienza, overrated or not? I loved when I was young. Loved watching Vinny Paz. I mean, his fights with Duran. Duran was old. He did beat Duran. And when Paz really wanted to do his 50 wins thing, it took him a few tries because he was fighting like Dana Rosenblatt and a couple other guys. And Dana, exactly. He had. Don't make me say anything bad about Paz, but he fought a couple fighters at the end just to get to his 50 wins that I had not heard of. Tough guys, but he went ahead and he got his 50 wins and then he promptly retired. He is a former champion. I think he might have even held 2 different belts. They're wondering about whether he'll ever be in the Hall of Fame, but I say 09. Let's see Vinny Paz go in. Was he overrated though? Oh my God. As a man who has not been interviewed on Bola Punch, it's hard for me to say that he has been overrated, but I think a touch, yes. I think a touch, yes.
He's another one of those guys that have a little bit of flash to him. And
He was slick. He had a cool angle. He came in with a mask. He came in with horns. He came in with a bold,
You know what? I'm sorry, but I cannot give a boxer any kind of props for the way he comes into the ring. It
A
just
little
doesn't.
pro wrestling.
Yeah, you know what? Why don't you just fire fireworks out? He can stand up there and beat his chest or something. Come on.
Last time
You
I
know,
checked, you don't get bonus points. For
Yeah, no, the
short
judges,
you know?
the judges aren't going. Ooh, we'll give him points for style.
That's a 10-8 right there.
Yeah, this is this.
That's a 10-8 round.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this isn't Iron Chef America where they get points for style or plating.
Hi, cousin.
Yeah, we're talking. Yeah, he had a
was
flash
lame,
to the
though.
sport, but did he actually do anything in the ring? I liked Vinny Paz when I was younger. I enjoyed watching him fight. I don't know that he was overrated, but I didn't like what he did at the end of his career to get to the 50 wins. I thought that was pretty hokey. In my eyes, it was a lot like what they did with the was it Reggie White or whoever to get to his the number of sacks where Brett Favre just fell on the ground or whoever it was trying to get
Brett
there.
Favre.
Yeah, come on. If you're gonna do it right. If you're gonna get to 50 wins, impress me. Fight somebody that's got a name, not a guy that was sweeping the aisles the day before. And you just called him into the ring, and said, "Here, fight me. Here's $6,000. I'm gonna get to my 50 wins."
The first fight that I remember watching in my adult life was over with Amo at the Mahoney's house. We watched Roy Jones fight Vinny Paz. And I will be honest that I didn't know very much about Jones. I had seen Vinny Paz fight, but this was my first pay-per-view. This was my first big fight.
The first time I remember seeing that, we watched a lot of fights over there at the Mahoney's
Sure.
house. The first guy I remember watching Jones fight was when he fought James Toney, because he was the underdog in that fight. He came in as a big underdog.
That's the last time he was an underdog.
James Toney was a little guy at one time.
James Toney was definitely a little guy at one time.
Yeah, he was a middleweight,
Yeah.
very good middleweight.
Yes, he was.
Looks like he ate a middleweight.
So was Vinny Paz overrated or was he not? I say pretty much.
Yeah.
But he got blown out by Jones. That is when I really sat up in my chair and said, Roy Jones is something special. And I don't know about the chronology, but I think at that point he had already beaten James Toney. So he hadn't fought Hopkins yet, but he had beaten James Toney at that point, I do believe. And I think it was super middle where he fought Vinny Paz. And Vinny Paz actually, was not a really big guy.
No.
But then put on like 10 pounds of solid bulk muscle. The dude was thick. The dude put on a lot of weird looking muscle. I mean, he was cut. He was a very big guy.
Yeah,
Very, very thick guy at least.
Thick guy. Yeah.
Cut. Yeah, definitely not big. That wasn't the right word. But moving on down. Antonio Tarver. Overrated or not? Nestor Garza, what do you got?
God.
He still has some time to prove himself.
He's not completely done, but he's close to done.
In my eyes, I think he's a little bit overrated. I like the guy. I mean, he did some stuff in the ring, but he didn't do enough, as far as I'm concerned. I thought he could have been a lot better fighter than he was.
I'm going to get Timmy, the producer Patterson, in on this one because I was at his house actually when he knocked out Roy in the second round. And then we promptly met Antonio Tarver in New York, and he was signing all his autographs. You got any excuses tonight, Roy?
Yeah, I mean, he did one thing great, kind of, just got the hype for it, and that's kind of his career, basically. I mean, that's it. I mean, if you look at him, I mean, that's what you think. He beat Roy Jones, and he talks smack to him, Nothing else big on that. I mean, I think that right there sums up overrated. You did one thing, and that's your career.
Thing is, no one's ever going to call Buster Douglas overrated. There's got to be more than just doing one thing. It's doing one thing great and then hanging out in the public eye for another decade on it.
Well, yeah,
that I'll give you.
Yeah, that's what he's done.
Okay. Mo, what do you got on Tarver?
Well, not only did he...
Because he has fought more than just Jones
Well,
and beat him.
he beat Glenn Johnson as well, but after he lost to Glenn Johnson too.
Yes.
And
He just beat Clinton Woods just a little bit ago.
that impress you?
Who? Clint Eastwood, is that what you said?
Clinton Woods.
Oh, I thought you said Clint
Did
Eastwood.
Clinton beating
Clinton
Clinton?
Woods had one of the belts. Yes, it did impress me.
It didn't impress me. Yeah, I mean, Clinton Woods lost to Roy Jones as well, so.
Everyone lost to Roy at some point.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, I mean, it's just Bernard Hopkins. He lost to Roy. Can't be much. Come on,
Well, no,
dude.
but we're talking about a guy that you're talking about Bernard Hopkins. I just don't think Tarver did. I don't think Tarver did enough to outside of beating.
Time trials behind you.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
It's like I'm getting ready to run over my Indy cars. I've never been a big Tarver fan. He does a lot of talking. He doesn't do a whole lot of punching or a whole lot of winning, as far as I'm concerned.
I've never been excited by
No.
Tarver. He's never excited me in the ring. I thought it was cool how he knocked out Roy, and then he soundly beat him in a really thick decision the third time they fought. But beyond that, he
Yeah,
hasn't done too much to
he
impress.
hasn't done much, and
But he was in Rocky, so
yeah,
Ooh.
oh, there you go.
and he hasn't really looked great in his last few fights. So I mean, they had him ranked as I believe number 2 in that weight class for a while. He's slipped down a little bit since then, but I don't know. He got to the top of that weight class simply because he beat Roy, and ever since then it's just been downhill. It was a quick point that he got up to the top and came straight down. It looks like a little mountaintop there, you know.
Speaking of Rocky, there's a guy on there that I don't see that I thought might have been a little overrated.
Bramble?
No,
Oh.
Tommy Morris.
Tommy Morrison. Good call. Good call.
That's just me. I just there's another.
He was right at that mountaintop, but he ran into a couple problems. He did beat George Foreman, but that was about the last meaningful fight
For George?
for Tommy.
Oh.
The last meaningful fight that he won, because he slowly went on a downward spiral from there.
Yeah,
Was he
everybody.
overrated? Yes,
Yeah,
most definitely. Tommy Morrison was overrated.
yeah, he was slightly overrated. He was never known to be a great boxer, though. He was
He
known
was
to be.
all power.
Yeah, he was known to be a guy to watch. Basically, he was the guy that his fights lasted a little while. You're used to watching Tyson, and you're like, why am I paying all this big money to watch this guy fight for 10 seconds? You know, and I could watch Tommy Morrison actually make a little bit of fight of it,
Yeah.
and that's what he became known for.
Yeah, no, you're right. But, I mean, the names on his record are not as huge as you would think. He got messed by Lennox Lewis. Messed. But he did beat Razor Ruddock.
I forgot about
So
Razor.
the second you get all excited about one thing, you're like, well, he beat Donovan Ruddock, Razor Ruddock, and then, well, Lennox Lewis smacked him down. He beat George Foreman.
Like Lennox Lewis,
Yeah, but George is busy fixing stuff on his grill by then.
Lennox Lewis beat down
He was
a lot
beating
of guys.
everyone. I was a Tommy Morrison fan, but when it really came down to it, he didn't do quite as much as I wanted him to do.
Yeah, just as he was starting to build his way up is when, I mean, he has 48 wins in his career, but it took him a while to build himself up there to where he was going to actually make something for himself.
I remember that John Castle fight. They were talking about how great that was going to be. Knocked him out in the second round. End of story. And that was, I mean, the difference between his John Castle fight and his Marcus Road fight, 11 years.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. Shane Mosley, does he belong on this list, or is this guy just smoking crack?
Now he's going to put Shane Mosley on there, and he didn't put Zab Judah on there.
If you're gonna put one of those two guys, you gotta go Zab first. And Zab Judah is not overrated by any stretch.
And this guy's got this list compiled, and there's names that I haven't heard you mention yet that I feel are way more overrated than anything Shane Mosley's ever done.
Shane Mosley has brought nothing but decency and hard work and a great work ethic Now, yes, he is a little bit of a Balco boy. But I don't know that he did anything wrong, and I have to assume that he didn't until
Proven guilty.
he gets proven that he did something wrong.
Well, he was considered with Jones for a while there to be the best fighter in the world, pound for pound.
I just, I don't know what this guy's thinking on this list. I really don't. And
That's why he's thinking that. He's thinking all these other guys weren't necessarily considered the best out of all the boxing as a fighter. This guy was. Shane Mosley was considered that.
Lost to Winky Wright twice. Lost to Vernon Forrest twice.
He's had trouble with southpaws. Is what he's had trouble with.
He had trouble with Miguel Cotto too. Just, and that had nothing to do with which hand was rocketing at his head.
I don't agree with that at all.
I don't think it belongs there, and I think I want to stop talking about it.
Well, the thing is he lost to Cotto recently. His peak of his career was a while ago, when he was beating De La Hoya.
And the last guy on this list is ferocious Fernando Vargas. Does he belong on an overrated list or does he not? I'm not sure anyone belongs on this list any more than Fernando Vargas, except perhaps Nassim Hamed. I think my overrated championship belt right there goes to Prince Nassim. But let's talk really quickly about Fernando Vargas. Talk about overrated. This guy did not do what he was supposed to do. World's youngest junior middleweight champion of all time, by the way. Gold medalist on the Olympic team. Very, very, very big deal. Did he do what he was supposed to do?
No.
The only name on this whole list that he's actually beat was Brown Wright, Winky Wright.
He beat Ed Corte. I don't think he beat him.
He didn't beat him.
I didn't think he won.
He won, but he didn't beat him.
Corte has never gotten a call in his life.
He won that fight, but he didn't beat him.
Yeah.
See, that's one of the fights that Fernando Vargas uses as a feather in his cap.
Ike Corte?
Yes, because
Was it a decision? Then he didn't win.
it had to be a decision.
Yeah, he did not win.
He didn't stop him. The reason he does is because he says when De La Hoya fought him, De La Hoya actually got knocked down by Corte too, and he had to turn it on in the last round just to squeak out a decision. He says when he got him hurt, he stayed on him. Ooh, whatever. It was a decision he didn't deserve.
No, because Ike Corte has never, in the United States, has never gotten a decision in his life. Ike Corte could be the only fighter in the ring, and he would still lose on points.
A close decision. He would lose a disputed
by
split
himself,
decision.
by himself with the referee, and
Split
the referee
decision.
would get the decision.
Fernando Vargas definitely deserves to be on this list.
Yeah, there's no old timers on this list, really. This is a lot of.
No, this is mostly young guys. Marlon Starling is the most recent guy, and I didn't even want to talk about him because, to be honest, I don't know more than like 3 of his opponents, so I don't really want to. I don't feel justified if I were to even discuss him. So if you don't like our list, if you do like our list, if you agree or disagree, Tim, how can they get in touch with us to let us know that?
Hit us up on the hotline, 219-743-9743. Yahoo Instant Messenger is open. It is keyword Bolo Punch Boxing Hour. And send us an email at bolopunchboxinghour@yahoo.com.
We'll be right back with our Bolo Punch fighter you should know, our Golden Leaf fighter you should know, I should say, Hall of Famer Freddie Miller. And we'll be right back at you. It's your Bolo Punch Boxing Hour, brought to you by George Rogie Insurance, www.hssb.ccsportsjuice.com.